Welcome back to Timeless Mindset. In this episode, we are joined by Lucas Lane. Starting a business is hard. So is being a kid at 12, trying to figure out the world. So doing both is incredibly difficult. Lucas Lane founded Glossy Boys, a nail paint business at just 12 years old. He has an incredible story, has learnt so much already, and has such a good mindset for his age. Expect to learn about why he started Glossy Boys, why self-expression is so important, what it's like to be on Shark Tank, the biggest challenges he's faced so far, his advice to change your life, why a supportive network is so important, and so much more. It was such an honor to chat to Lucas, and it was such a cool conversation. Let's get into it. Lucas Lane, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, man, for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
So, where does the journey start?
Well, the journey for me all started me being a young entrepreneur. I started when I was 12 years old. I saw my favorite artists, skaters, and musicians paint their nails, and I really wanted to do that. I took my mum and we went to the pharmacy, this big pink pharmacy, and I just hated it. I went to go find some nail polish, but number one, it was way too confusing. And number two, I just felt really uncomfortable with everything because I wanted to find a good product that was meant for me and that I could feel comfortable with. And with nail polish, it's mainly for women, and I didn't see myself in their marketing. So from that day, I wanted to start something. So talking to my mum, we created this business called Glossy Boys. Glossy Boys is a gel nail polish brand made for guys. So guys like me or guys like you or really anyone can express themselves and be who they are. And I have been striving and I've been doing this for around, I'd say almost 3 years now. And I've created a 6-figure business all from home, all doing it online, doing marketing on social media and selling with my business on websites. And I've just had a blast. I've done so many cool stuff. I've been so many cool places and I've talked to so many new people, and I love doing stuff like this, especially like podcasts. I've had a lot of fun with this journey, but yeah.
Where did the desire to find something to express yourself come from? I know when we're young, a lot of us just want to fit in, right? We just want to be accepted by our peers. Where was the drive and motivation to really do something like paint your nails, to express yourself? Where did that desire come from?
Well, drive and I guess being passionate about something. You have a lot of things. Like I've been into so many different stuff, like maybe drawing or like cartoons. I was super into cartoons. Sometimes I was into cooking, but it isn't till that age where you're like 12 to 14, which is I'm actually 15 right now, and that's something that has stuck with me. So in the age of like 12 to 14 is where I really, and where a lot of people pick up what they love and what they're passionate about and what carries them into the future. The 3 things that I have taken, well, the first one was skateboarding. I love skateboarding. It's just another way that I could have fun and express myself. And the biggest problem with nail polish was I would go out and have fun. I would see like Christopher Hyatt. He's like one of my favorite skaters, and he wears eyeliner, he wears nail polish, he has cool hair, and I wanted to emulate that. So I would wear nail polish, and I would also listen to music. So those 3 things all coincide with nail polish. Music is a way that I can express myself and be who I am, and it all caught on when I was around 13, and that's when I started my business, and that's where I really just took everything to the next level and was really dedicated with my passion and what I love.
Was it scary at first? Because I know, reflecting back on my age at 13, I had a lot of drive to achieve things, but it was always through the mainstream narrative of good grades, sporting teams, girls. That was the idea of success for me. How did you sort of embrace being yourself, doing something different in such a transformative period where we all just want to chase success, but through that narrowed lens?
Yeah, I didn't really I guess I did all right at school. I'm going to a whole different school now, but I guess I always do all right. School has never been my passion. Like uni has never been my passion, but I love learning, and that was really weird for me. And that what was scary was like, hey, am I actually doing good? like I won't do the best in school, but then I would have created a business and I would have been on TV. So that's what was scary, and like creating that, like no one else was doing it at my age, and I never really knew anyone personally that did something similar to me. Well, because we're in a whole different time. I'm Gen Z. I'm born with technology. People who started a business when they were younger were like 10, 20 years ago. And that's what was scary. I didn't have anything that I could relate to. So I started everything all basically by myself, and I had to find those connections, which was my mom, even people like Jeremy Chetty, and a lot of cool people. So yeah, there's a lot of scary stuff that happens when trying to start something, especially that young.
What about what was your experience like with fear of judgment, like caring what people think? Because I know, especially, painting your nails for men, that's very against what society, especially young people, there's a lot of judgment there. What was your personal experience like with doing that?
Well, of course I got judged, but it's just something with me. I don't get that nervous. I don't get that scared. And to be honest, I never really cared. Like so many cool people have done it. So many rich and famous people have already done it like 10, 20 years before me. And I was like, I just want to be myself. This is who I am, and I want to do what I want to do. And to be honest, I didn't care. And people saw that, and they knew that. Like, I would go to school one day, and I was only there for I'd think 2 periods because I had a test in the morning, and I was wearing a white, red, and black nail polish. And people were like, "Oh, why are you wearing nail polish? Isn't that for girls?" And I'm like, no, it's for me, and I like it, and I'm actually going to go on TV and talk about it. And people were like, "Oh, cool." And I'm like, Channel 7, you got to watch it. And because I knew I was already doing something better, something more important, where to the point I didn't have to care about what people thought, because I was already doing something. I was already having so much fun, and I just didn't care about them.
Do you think that's an important thing for people, younger people who want to do their own thing, is really, really investing into it? Because I think sometimes I feel like when young people do certain things, take a risk, they're still looking for that external validation, but you're not really going to get it to start with. So the thing I loved about what you said is you sort of really just embraced not caring what people think, and you believed in it. And how important was that for you?
Incredibly important. Just embracing who I am, and that is really the whole thing of why I started my business, Glossy Boys, was because I'm not super a nervous person, but I did feel nervous and I did feel scared and anxious when I was first doing it. And it wasn't until I bought that nail polish and I tried it out, and then it sucked, and then I made something better of my own. That's when I felt the most comfortable. And being scared and all that is the most important thing to creating a business, and that's how I've been able to overcome it and to create something truly new and truly inspiring, and have fun doing it.
Do you feel like you learn, or I mean, I already sort of know the answer, but I'm interested in your take, how much more you're learning outside of school, just from starting a business? A lot of people in this space often say that starting a business is honestly, it's just a vehicle for self-growth and figuring out who you are and the lessons you learn through that. So how important has it been through these transformative years in your life to do something scary, do something risky, and build so many personal strengths in this space?
It's incredibly important because I've changed my whole life to fit my business. I started going out to this very nice private school up until year 8, and that year 8 is basically, I'd say late year 8 is when I actually started my business and started being myself and not caring what other people thought. And creating that business was for self-growth. I couldn't really be in that school. They didn't even want me there because I was going out and I was not being their student. I was not being their product, and I was being myself. So I left that school to go to another school, which was Idea Academy. That was a super fun place where I could be myself and create my business. But it wasn't until my most recent school, TSS, the studio school, is where I've really learned so much because I have, normal school, but I also have my business to work on. And taking those big risks have been the best thing in my life. Starting a business and starting really anything new is an incredible risk, especially doing it so young. But I've had people to help me, and I had the confidence and I had the passion to do it. And I could have stopped. I could have stopped yesterday. I could have stopped a month ago. I could have stopped 3 years ago. But I wanted to keep on going, and I knew that this business would make me into whatever I could dream. And I have so many new ideas and so many great stuff. And from everything that I've learnt, I could create something new.
So at the core of Glossy Boys, your brand is really just a center for self-expression, confidence, and being yourself. Yeah, I'm really fascinated by that because I feel like no matter what people do in their life, a lot of people are chasing something, right? For me, when I was younger, it was always trying to get in the best sporting teams, get the best test results, follow the traditional path. But at the core of that, what made me the happiest was when I was able to be myself, when I was able to be in certain rooms with friends and really be authentic and be myself. But what I figured out is I feel like when we follow the traditional path, I feel like we're modeling what everyone else has done. We're modeling off what we're expected to do. Is there a certain level of freedom that you have doing your own thing that allows for that self-expression? Because I feel like for me, it's been hard at times to be authentic because I'm constantly looking to people who have already gone down the path I want to go down and almost retrofitting and looking at their lives and trying to almost subconsciously copy them. But what you're doing, this is a new thing. So there's no, this is the ideal version of how I'm going to look. What does Glossy Boys look like? It's your own creative expression.
Yeah. The business grows with me. Like you can see if you look super far back on my Instagram, which you shouldn't, because it was very embarrassing. But there was just a little nervous me. Like I'll still, because it was the first time ever being on camera. Like now I can do all this because I've just done so much of it. And when you look at that little person, which was apparently me, and then just as soon as I progressed to now, especially being this age, I feel more myself. And definitely a couple more years into the future, still doing Glossy Boys or even starting something even more, like a whole new brand or business or whatever. Like I could do so much cool stuff, and I've taken basically everything that I know to wherever I can go.
Do you ever feel like you're missing out on the traditional teenage years of, the things that I so craved when I was younger, but I look back now and I'm like, I didn't really need that or want that. But do you ever feel like there's a desire to, fit in with the crowd, follow what everyone else is doing, because it's comfortable, because there's acceptance within that? Or is the success of your Glossy Boys and everything that's come along with that sort of justified that self-expression?
Yeah. I don't really regret much. And the whole path that I have, I guess, carved was all done by me. I had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 choices, and I decided to take this path. So leaving that private school, I was like, should I do this? Because it was a big change, and there was going to be this whole sort of, I guess, program of that school in the next year, which was year 9, which I couldn't do. It was 3 weeks. I'll be without my phone. I know that doesn't actually probably sounds a little pretty good, but I couldn't run my business. I'll be out of home for 3 weeks, and I will be stuck in some sweaty dorm room with a bunch of my friends, which sound great, but I've made so many new friends, and I have had so many cool new opportunities, and I reckon I could go to so many cool places. Like there's so many cool places I want to go. And if I stuck to that school, didn't start my business, and I just, kept working on and kept trying to do good at school, hang out with the people from that school, I feel like life would have been predictable and it wouldn't be as interesting. It is something, and I have done something that I don't think a lot of other people, or at least what I know, have done, and it's incredibly scary. But there's so much that I could do, and I've met so many cool people. I've made so many new friends, and I've met people like you. Like I go around to schools, and you do too, and talk about whatever you're passionate about. Like I talk about entrepreneurship and how it relates to kids like me. And I've had so many cool stuff where I'll go to a school and they'll be like, "You're 14 or you're 15? That's crazy." And it's just such a wonderful journey. And taking those big risks and those big leaps are the most important things that you can take in your life. Like, I wouldn't be, like, I don't think I'll be skating anymore. I don't think I would have been listening to such cool music, I feel like. And I don't think I would have expressed myself. I would have stayed in the uniform. I would have basically stood in the same shoes until, I guess, year 12, to where that's when I start expressing myself. Year 12, when I'm out of school, that's where you start going into a new job. That's when you start having new experiences. But I started it early, so I can have that head start to other people. I started when I was 12, 13, so I could be creative sooner. I could be myself whenever I want, which was that age. And that's when I started to be myself. That's when I started to create my business. And that's when I started wanting others to be who they are.
Love that. There's one thing to figure out your passion and what you want to do. There's another to make a successful business. How did you even start with where to go with business? Like, how did you even think of that? Because there's a million things that would go behind the scenes of Glossy Boys and the business side of it. So where did you even learn all these things?
YouTube. I like Mum and I, we searched up how to start an online business, and that was it. So without the internet, I don't think we could have done a lot of stuff. And that's why I'm super lucky. And I think I think that's why I started my business. Like, I bet if I was in, like, I don't know, the 90s or the 80s or even the 70s, I don't think I could start a business. I'll just, like, make a lemonade stand. I never made a lemonade stand because I didn't want to be out in the heat, I guess. But I've had so many, like, technology has been great, and I've created my business by searching up how to do it and by talking to people. I wasn't scared to talk up to people and say, and, like, ask for help. I always ask for help, and that's how I've created my business. I would search up on YouTube how to start a business, how to market online, and that's how I've fully done it. And I remember this when I was first trying to come up with a solution to my problem, which is there isn't strong nail polish. It sucks. It takes too long to dry, and it's too uncomfortable to paint. So I had a whole bunch of solutions and a market, and I was like, how am I supposed to what am I supposed to sell? And I was like, all right, maybe like a nail polish bottle with a longer lid. That's what I decided. I look on Pinterest and I searched up that. And then I got the idea of like a texter. So, and that's where the whole business started from, was technology and just trying to be innovative and starting that.
I love that. Now take us to the Shark Tank experience, because I used to love this show. Like, I always watch the highlights of it.
Definitely.
How do you even get onto a show like that? I'm curious.
Well, it is for me, it was actually a little bit more simpler than I thought until you got to the hard bit. But I remember watching Shark Tank in school and in economics class, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, you get to go up on TV and present something that you made. And it was at that point where is just before I left school. And I was like, people were like, hey, you should do that. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. And then I had, a whole bunch of opportunities. My business started growing. And then it was to the point where customers were saying like, hey, there's a new episode and there's a new season on Shark Tank. There's 3 whole new sharks. You should go up and sign up. So we got sent this form, and I was like, I mean, the whole thing about business is risk taking. And I was like, you know what? Why not? What's the worst that can happen? They say no, but putting your name, putting all your details and stuff like that. It's a very giant, long list of stuff that you have to fill out. At the school I was at, I had to do a whole bunch of videos there and talk about my business. It was actually kind of crappy. It had super bad lighting, but they liked it, and they liked my business, and they liked my brand. So they took us out to Sydney. So first time going from Perth to Sydney. That was cool, and also first time being on a business trip. That was cool. First ever business trip was Shark Tank. Going at the hotel, and they picked us up in this really nice car. Oh, so cool. And then they took us out to the Shark Tank set. We actually couldn't even take any photos or videos outside there because I think it's owned by Disney or Paramount. I don't know. But we couldn't take any photos there. But we did get one cheeky photo there. And going up to there, going into like the dress room, getting like, I guess, makeup and hair done. It was pretty scary. Done? I already had my nails done.
Of course. Yeah.
Did my mum do it? I think my mum did it because but I always do mine now. She just wanted to do it a little bit better, but I had my nails super cool. I had my outfit prepped out. I had my nice jacket, the infamous, I would say famous pink jacket now with the pink combo shoes. And going up there, it was incredibly scary. That's when I felt nervous, and my mum was incredibly nervous. And I was like, you know what? This will be fine. And it's not live, thank God. But even if it was, I would have been fine. So going up there, I didn't even know much. I think my mum was more nervous because she knew what was like a lot of like, I think it was 60 cameras, 120 people working on the set, blaring lights in your eyes, and my mom was scared. But I remember in the hotel, we had these palm cards and we were practicing it all out and stuff like that. I was fine. But I had to memorize my pitch first. And I remember I was in the bathroom and I just had these because I was just trying to find like a way to like practice better. So I had these shower bottles on the kitchen the bathroom sink, and I placed them up, and I was doing my pitch in front of them, like they were the sharks because I have like 5 of them. It was really funny. But then going up, and I remember I think the 2 people that were before me were like incredible. They were scared. Like you should see their eyes are like wide, and I was like, ooh, what happened to them? I actually think they got a deal. It was pretty good. But then going up. Going in like the fake elevator. All right, Shark Tank secret, it's not a real elevator. This is really disappointing, but it's fine. But we went up, and I actually couldn't see them because I didn't have glasses back then, and I didn't have any type of prescription, so I couldn't even see them. I think that's why I was like pretty confident because I actually couldn't see them, and especially lights blaring in my eyes. All I could see was just light. And I couldn't even see. I could only see, I think, Jane, because she had a bright pink suit. And I was like, all right, I'm right there. And all the music and stuff like that, because I actually played some music to set the scene, I guess. And then they say, go. And then, hi, my name is Lucas. I'm a 13-year-old entrepreneur. I think I was 13 back then. And then I just blasted off, and that was it. And I did my pitch. I did everything, and it was wild. Nerve-wracking, but it felt like it was over in like a minute. I think it was like 20, 30 minutes, maybe even 40. I don't know, but it felt pretty instant. Like those big things are really, really scary because you just go up there and you have to do it. You can't back out. And I already flew over to Sydney. Like I couldn't stop now, and I was like, I'm in too deep and I just gotta go. And that's how I made 75 grand, and that's how I gave 20% away to my business. And now I have like 3 multimillionaires on my board helping me with my business. So it's just those stuff. Like, the worst that could happen was I didn't get aired, and I would have been a little scared, or might have like peed my pants. So glad I didn't. But I went up there and I got an investment. and I made TV. I was the second episode, and I got to go home feeling accomplished. And that's the whole thing with, I feel like, with entrepreneurship. You go home, you either look at what you've done, look of who you've helped, and you just go home and you're like, wow, I did that. And then you go, I can't wait to do more of that. So there's a lot of stuff that, like, I don't know if I'll go on Shark Tank again because I've already got my investment, already have the sharks on my board. I feel like that's all I need. And I've used all that money for my business, and it's been such a help. Like we went up there for, I was like, all right, I don't want to give much away. And I was like, 25 grand for 5%. That seems good. And like making that assumption up, basically I had to like calculate my, like, I guess my business, like all the sales that I had and what it was actually worth. And like, I remember I was in a library for like 2 hours figuring that out with like a whiteboard and pens and stuff like that, notebook and laptops everywhere with my mum. Also, the librarian kept trying to kick us out, which was super annoying. So there was a lot of prep that I had to do for Shark Tank. But it actually wasn't that bad because it was me. It was my business and I started it. If I went up there and I sold, I don't know, washing detergent liquid, if I went up there and tried to do that, I would have failed because it's not who I am. Glossy Boys is who I am. I started it. I made it with my vision and my intent. And that's how I've been able to create such a business because it's been me. And that's like a little bit of advice for everyone is if you have something and it is your own, make it your own and just keep going. And because if you're, I guess, maybe like a person like me, you're outgoing and you like having fun, that should be your whole business. That should be your whole brand and who you are. You should make your brand and your business who you are because you can just have fun doing it and it makes it so much more easier.
I love that. What a story. Doing great things. What does the investment look like after? So you made that deal. So take us through that deal.
Yeah.
And do they still have a relationship with you? And what does that actually look like? Because I'm curious to see like the long-term impact of such a big moment for you.
Yeah, it was quite heavy. So after the pitch and after the whole episode, I was like, "Cool." We signed, I think, just a couple contracts there. Did like a little post interview. Talked to the Sharks, and they were already giving us advice. They actually haven't even invested in us properly, which we'll get into. But they were already giving advice to us, which was great from the bat. While in Sydney, but we flew home. We had a little bit of basically just a big nap. Incredibly tiring. But then I think like a couple weeks after, maybe even a month, it was quite a while. It's a very long process for where you sign the form and then actually have the investment. So we got this like, I don't know, thick stack of papers of documents, and they were pretty whack. And we had to go through them. I'm not going to go too much into it because that was the point where my mum was like, I negotiate contracts for a living. This is something that I'll have to deal with. So she made it all better, and she's really good. It's like you always have to have those people helping you out with your business, and that person was my mum. And she negotiated all that contracts and made a better deal, which was the actual deal that we made on the show. 75 grand for 20% equity. And now after that, it was like a big congratulations. It was like, woohoo. We actually have a WhatsApp group to keep in touch. So I think it's called like Glossy Sharks or something like that. So I have Davey, Kat, and Jane, me and my mum on that like little WhatsApp group, and we're always messaging, and they were helping us a lot. And having those new people in your life, like I never knew them. I think, and plus I've never even seen them on a Shark Tank episode because we were the first ones to go up. So having that sort of input from them is really helpful because Davey, he's all like online marketing, he's all e-commerce, which is what we are. And that was the one person that I really wanted to invest in because he was the youngest guy. I think he's like, maybe like 28. Or maybe, I don't know. He's pretty young, and which was super cool. having that sort of connection. But like I changed my whole marketing platform and how I do it through him. Like instantly he was like, okay. So I was doing 2 posts every single day for around 2 years, and that was pretty good. I got a lot of attention and I got a lot of loyal customers and a lot of engagement and a lot of just building my business and who I was. And that was also for those 2 years, posting twice a day, just photos and some videos, was really good for building who I was and making a brand. But now I have to make money. So what he was like, all right, so you've made this business and you've made this brand and it's going really good. What you need to do now is market like crazy and you need to go viral. So he changed my whole sort of marketing strategy instantly, and it just boosted us way up. Like having those type of people in your space and in a group chat is so good. So we have a whole new marketing platform and a whole new marketing strategies, and that's just elevated our business a whole bunch. And like that investment, like we didn't think like, oh, what are they gonna do? Are they trustworthy? They were, luckily. And I've like pushed my business so far forward. And with that investment, with a 75 grand, that was all put into ads. So that's when I started doing Facebook ads and Instagram ads, putting money into content, which again boosted our sales and created a pretty big business. And also going to more trips, because I want to go all around the world, but I first need to get in touch with my manufacturers personally. So I went to China with the investment money. I used the rest of the investment money to go to China, meet my manufacturers, have some nice food, and just build an even better product. So that Shark Tank experience, if you ever have any of those sort of opportunities, even if it's like not Shark Tank and you're not even investing in anything, you're just having that sort of opportunity, you can relate to me and see what I've done and how I created it. Of course, it was hard and it was scary and stressful, but look at what I've created. Like it would take me, I feel like a little bit longer to get, I would say right here, right now, if I didn't take that big leap of faith. And I've just created such a cool business, and a lot of cool stuff has come out, and a lot more in the future.
You don't only get their money, but like all of their insights into business, all of their, because they know so much. They've been in the game for so long, and I'm sure being young, like a lot of this stuff is foreign to you, new to you. How do you sort of embrace learning from them? And like, I'm curious of like how you balance like at the core of what you do, like believing in your vision and what you know and how you want to, the direction you want to take your business, but also like listening to these experts and guiding you. So how do you balance like trusting yourself, but also like these guys know so much stuff and innovating with what they tell you to do?
Yeah. So they don't have full control, which is the most important thing, because I'm a young person and it is always gonna move along with me. Like as I age and what I'm interested in the business is gonna grow with me. And what what was always gonna happen was me having this business and me being the business. Basically, I'm the business and it's my decision and it's what I want to do. And now I have these figures in my life that have been doing this for so much longer, have had a billion times more businesses than me and a lot more money than me. And it's to the point where like, should I trust them and should I take their word? And I've taken a lot of what they said because they know and they're pretty good on me, because I think they know that I'm just a young entrepreneur, but they don't put it on too lightly as well. So they're straightforward, they're straight to the point, which is really what I like, because I don't want to go dancing around a problem. I want to get my answer and I want to know why really quickly. And they give that. So, and I knew what was right. So like that marketing strategy, I tried it out like anything. I switched from something that I was comfortable with and I just switched to something new. And what did that do? It grew my business a whole bunch. And making those sort of like leaps and those sort of, I guess, obstacles and just new pathways have been really helpful, especially with those people now in my life. I've created so many cool stuff and so much new stuff, and I've basically propelled my business into a new way. And it is always going to stay with me, and it's always going to be me, until maybe I'm like a lot older and I sell the business or whatever, or I create something new out of the business, or really whatever I want. So I do have a lot of control, and I do have a lot of say in it, because, they wouldn't be investing in me if I wasn't there.
Take us through, I guess, your family, your mum, whoever been some really important figures along the way, because you're so young and, it's hard to do these things by yourself. You need like the support of parents, like you had to be driven here today by your dad, for example. So take us through the impact of your family and how that sort of shaped your ability to do things on your own.
Family and friends and people that I know and people I've met are the most important thing. Like, I'm going to say this and I'm confident about it. I couldn't start this without my friends and family. And I couldn't have done anything without, let's say, my mum and dad, because they're the one that drives me, literally. They take me here and get me up in the morning. But now, because I've grown and I've matured a little bit more, I get myself up and I do my own stuff, and I don't have to have as much of their, I guess, input. But having that sort of extra figure in your life has always been incredibly helpful, because you need that. Like, I don't know too much. Like, it almost feels like yesterday that I started this business, and having those people in your life is really helpful, because they add that much of like a different sort of angle to it. Like, I was doing, I think this English essay, and I wrote it all out, and I thought it was pretty good. And then I had someone else read it, and they were like, "Hey, you repeated that word a couple of times. Hey, you should change that a little bit. I think you need to do this, just tweak it a little bit." And then I add those, and I add their information and what they've said, and I've created something truly amazing. So those important people, whoever it is, like for me, it was my mum and dad. My mum helps with a lot of the back end of the business, and she was on Shark Tank with me, because I don't think I couldn't have legally done it by myself, because I'm a child, but having those people to support you is amazing. Like, even with my brother and sister, my sister's actually drawn a lot of the stuff, like the instructions, and help with the logo and stuff like that. My brother, whenever he's at home, he's always counting pens and counting stock. My dad, he stays up and stickers pens, because it is a pretty, I guess, labor heavy business for now, that I have those people that really believe in me and that can help me with my business, even if it's not like helping me market. They're helping me actually do some of the important stuff, organize stock. And my dad, he's a great photographer, videographer. He always takes a lot of the photos and videos. All the product shots that aren't renders, which is practically all of them, he has taken photos of them, and he's organized all the lighting. He's done it all from the kitchen bench. I've started my business and from the kitchen bench, and I've had my mum and dad helping me from the start. And those people have helped me so much. They get me everywhere, and you just gotta find whoever it is. It might not be like your parents, because you're probably older and want to be a little bit more independent. They probably don't have the same sort of, I guess, wavelength of you, like way of thinking. Like, it's like a co-founder. You need to have a co-founder. And I have a good relationship with my co-founder, which is my mum, which is kind of weird. And having that sort of relationship is great. And I already have that connection, and I already have that trust, knowing them for so long. I was like born with them, so of course I know them. So yeah,
I love that. Now take us through this unique experience. And speaking of legalities, I read somewhere about this Facebook experience, somewhat early on in your journey, where you got locked out of your Facebook
That was a lot. I'll get into the story because that's not the first time. I think actually it depends on how early because it happened like 2 or 3 times. But being a young entrepreneur, you always have to face risks. Risks, like I've said a million times in this podcast already. Because that's the most important thing for me. So I would go, and I'll just have fun and market myself and post on Instagram. And I was like, to elevate my business, the first step I need to get verified. I need to have that little blue check mark because that's what everyone else had, and because that was at the point where, hey, I'm sort of starting this right now, and like someone else could take it. So that's the trademark sort of stuff, setting up tax file numbers and all that sort of really boring legal stuff. But with Meta and Facebook, I wanted to get that little verification, and being Meta and Facebook, not really caring because it's all run by AI and robots, and maybe like there's like 1 or 2 people working there, especially in help desks, but they're like across the world, so there's not really that much of a connection. And me trying to start my business, they didn't really care because they were making money off of my ads, and that's all they wanted from me. So me trying to verify myself, I had to get my passport. So it was, I'm pretty sure it was an expired passport, and the picture that had was me when I was like, I don't know, 7. So little baby face me. Maybe I didn't have a mustache back then. But they flagged it instantly, and they're like, no, you're not old enough, even though I was 13 at the time, and that's how old you need to be to have an Instagram account and to be verified. Even putting, and it was before even like trying to get my mum, put it in my mum's name. Nope, just shut you off and forget about you. They just didn't care. And that was such a big pain because that was also right before I went on Shark Tank. So I was trying to struggle, and I was struggling, and I was trying to fix that, and also trying to have fun in Sydney, and also trying to get this investment and go on Shark Tank. So right before Sydney, we were selling a lie, basically. Were we? We could have been, because we didn't have social media. My whole business is run on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, even like Pinterest and Snapchat even, but it's mainly Instagram and Facebook. Those are our 2 big, basically markets, and how I built my business. And those 2 were just shut off. So I had to go on TikTok and say, sorry, this has happened and it's incredibly annoying, but we'll get it back because we'll persevere. We even created a whole new Instagram account in the meantime as a backup. And hopefully we never have to use that account again because such a pain. But I remember still trying to figure that out. My mum was doing a whole bunch of phone calls and a whole bunch of reviews and a whole bunch of just trying to get in touch, which was incredibly annoying because there was like no one that you can call at Meta. And that was the whole thing that I needed to change, was being able to have that interaction between customer and business, which I have with my business because I knew it was important because I wasn't getting any of that at Meta. So my mum was on a whole bunch of calls while she was trying to take me out for like dinner and lunch and having a fun trip in Sydney after a whole big stressful day of Shark Tank filming. And I remember going into, I think it was in the Sun Museum of in Sydney, and that was at the time, I'm pretty sure, Kurt Cobain's MTV Unplugged guitar his acoustic guitar was there. It's like a $3 million guitar, and I wanted to go see it. But because we spent all this time trying to figure that stuff out, it was closing time, it was raining and stuff like that, and we were actually stuck in the parents' changing room, talking to Meta on the phone because we finally got in contact with someone. So we were talking to them, and it was like 3 minutes to closing on the PA, and we had to walk out into the rain and find some undercover to keep talking and try and solve it. So there's a lot of things I've missed out, and a lot of things I was really disappointed about. But that whole journey has basically built who I am. It's shown that I persevere, and that I could create something. But that wasn't the first time. That happened a second time as well, with my ads account, and then I'll go into that because. Alright, so marketing, having that new strategy. I was marketing on Instagram and Facebook and putting actual money into it. It was all organic, and now to reach a bigger audience, I was paying money to be in that, and it was working out well for us. So let's put so much into there and really work on it, and it was going great. But we have no idea. So we have this pixel, which is basically like a key that gets into our ads account where we put money, marketing, our business and putting it out and basically getting, I guess, attention from there. So we had that key, which was a pixel, but someone else hacked and basically replicated our key, logged into our account, charged us over, I'd say, I think 18 grand. So 18 grand out of our, I'm pretty sure this is correct, over 18 grand or probably even more, was taken out of my bank account. 18 grand just stolen out of nowhere. So 18 grand, someone has used that to market their stuff. And we have no idea because the pixel, you can name it whatever. So they had some random account, but it was marketing something else, most likely. So they basically just charged us, hey, we're gonna pretend to be you. We're gonna, hey Meta, we're Glossy Boys. We're gonna give 18 grand to you, and so you can market our account. So Meta has 18 grand, and we have no money, and we had to shut down our ads account because someone else has run off with basically all our engagement and our ads account, basically. And that was huge, and that was a big problem because I'm a small business, and I just had 18 grand ripped away from us, and trying to get that back was the most frustrating thing ever. Because you would just hit with chat wall after chat wall after sending emails and confirmations and stuff like that. Like, how was your experience with us? And my mum was like, maybe I can't repeat some of the words that she said, but she was getting pissed, and for good reason. So what I had to do was, what I've done to solve a lot of stuff was go online and express my words and just be who I am and say, this is wrong and I need to change this. So I went on Channel 7, I'm pretty sure Channel 9, I think it was Channel 7. But they came to my house and it was just me because my parents were out. So just me there, and I was talking to the lady there, and I was saying my problems with Meta on TV. And that helped out a little bit, but through, I guess, perseverance and determination, which is something that you have to have starting a business, I managed to get my ads account back. I managed to get all my money back. It was still a pain because I was 18 grand short for about 1 or 2 months, but in the end, I got my money back. I got my ads account back, and I could market again. But it's just those stuff. Like, I've had so many problems with this business, so many problems and so many points where I could have been like, oh yeah, that was really, really good. And then we had this bad moment, and I was like, damn, should I quit? I've had so many of those should I quit moments. But then I'm like, man, I've been on TV. I've been on Shark Tank. I've had so many wonderful emails and messages from people saying, this is such an amazing product, and this has really helped me out with such and such. And I'm in too deep. Like that Sum 41 song, In Too Deep. I love that song. But I was just so far into it and so invested in it. And I think I've created something super cool, and so much cool stuff I'm going to do in the future. But really persevering over those big, annoying, I guess, interruptions and problems, I've always hurdled over it, and I've always persisted. And I feel like last year was the main one where a whole bunch of stuff happened. Um, but this year, it's already June right now. I've already had a great year, and there's so much cool stuff in the future, which I really want to talk about. Maybe later though. That I'm gonna have to share, and it's gonna be really, really cool. But like, I don't know. Obviously, no problems have been predicted for me. Like losing my ads account, being charged an incredible amount of money, losing my stock. Like one time, 200 parcels were lost in the Sydney floods. And that's when I just started my business. That's where you would see the Shopify graph, and my thing would be up there, and it'll go down all the way down there, and then we have this really low point where I wasn't making any sales, and I was getting bad reviews because people weren't getting their product, and it wasn't really my fault. It was like it was Ozpost and stuff like that, and their the flood situation, and 200 parcels missing. So we had to refund that, and that was a whole bunch of more money just basically just getting stabbed in our bank account. But like anything else, I've managed to persevere and going on pre-order a lot, so there'll be weeks and weeks and weeks where people wouldn't get their stock. But like the reason I went to China, so I can get everything in one place, I can source everything, and I can have a really, really good product, and I could have it quickly, as quick as possible, and I could have it straight to my door, and I can basically ship it out to all my customers. And that's what I've been able to create through determination and perseverance and just getting over those hurdles and those problems.
I love that. What have you learned about yourself from these challenges? Because whenever you start something new, like a business, like a podcast, whatever it is, whenever you take a risk, you come up against unforeseen problems, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of moments where you want to quit, you want to turn back, head for the safety of the shores. What have you learned about yourself, or what has that created in you from overcoming these challenges that are going to put you in good stead for the future?
I've learned a lot about myself because, 13 to 15 is where you start really finding out about yourself. So I've gone into so many new things and done so many, and been into so many, I guess, new stuff. And I've learned so much about myself. And I feel like people have learned so much about me and who I am. And what I would say who I am is, I guess, pretty creative, because I've always wanted to create something myself. Like, even if I never thought about starting a business from like day one of like actually getting into stuff, which was like cartoons and drawing comics. I've always wanted to start my own sort of, I guess, animation studio, or my own sort of like YouTube channel or whatever. So I've always been creative, and I've always been determined because I've never quit from that. I did quit my cartoon stuff because I just wasn't interested anymore. And then I got into Beyblades. I didn't find anything that was useful but for Beyblades. But then I got into skating, entrepreneurship, and music. And that's where I've just been really determined. And that stuff is the stuff that's going to take me into the future. And I'm positive for that, because skateboarding has been the longest thing that has stood with me. And you should see my room. I have like 1 billion skateboards all over the wall. I love collecting. That's the one thing that has stayed with me, which was entrepreneurship, skating, and music. So I've learned who I am and how I can express myself, and how I can blow off steam, how I can have fun, how I can make friends, and I guess pretty importantly, how I can make money, and how I can make an income, how I can provide for myself in the future, and how could I have fun while doing it. So I'm already having fun expressing myself in this business and making it, and soon to be making an income personally, and providing for myself. I'm able to create a business with stuff that I love. I can, like, it's so cool. Like, I always hear these stuff with people having like a really bad job and they just suck. They can't be themselves. They're stuck in this job. Like, I would have, and I don't know anything about that, because I started young and I made something where, hey, I can I can make a profit, I can make money, and I can help other people by being myself, which was wearing nail polish, listening to punk and metal while on my skateboard and filming a TikTok. Like, how cool is that? And I've just learned so much about myself, and there's so much stuff that I haven't learned, which I'm excited to figure out.
Yeah, I love your mindset. The two parts of wanting to enjoy the journey and focusing on that, but also embracing what you don't know and a willingness to grow. How do you make sure you don't work too hard? I know you're still young, and it's so easy to get obsessed with creating a business and wanting and putting everything into it. You spoke about skating, friends. How do you make sure that you switch off from business? You turn your mind off from thinking about new opportunities to actually, I don't know, get a bit of balance and reset, and not put too much of your self and identity into the business?
That's a really important thing, and that's actually something that I'm still struggling with, and something that I have to find out, and I have to persevere, because sometimes, like, I'm learning this new song on guitar, and I really want to do it, and I spend hours and hours on it, and I'm like, oh crap, I haven't done a post for today. And for me, actually having this business, I can relate me learning that guitar song to my business, like having cool nails while shredding. Like, that's a whole another thing. But I'm glad that me and my mum can recognize when we've done a lot, and when we have not done enough. So after, like, big stuff, like, she was really, really like, thoughtful about me, and protective, but not too protective where you're, like, shielding me from a whole bunch of stuff. Like, she was like, oh, would Lucas get too scared for being on Shark Tank? Meanwhile, I was really happy and ready to go, and my mum was really nervous. So just having that, like, I like, obviously, being a business at home, and now I can actually take my business to school. So I have parts in the day for this new school, where I have learning, and then I have parts out of the day, like a period or two, where I can work on my business. It's my project time, basically, and I also present my project, which is Glossy Boys, or really whatever I'm into. But it's mainly Glossy Boys for now. So I have time to be on business calls. I have time to post on Instagram and Facebook while in school. And while I get home, I always have my routine. Go home, wash my hands, and then have some food. And then I go into, like, when's mum going to get home? And if mum's not home, I get to have a bit of time to myself to relax after the day, play some guitar, listen to some music, and just chill out. And then when mum gets home, we'll talk about a whole bunch of stuff that we need to get done, and then I'll go into making content, posting, packing orders. And, like, I realize nowadays that I actually have a lot of time in my day, which is weird. So, like, waking up, I don't do any business in the morning, which is something that I could probably implement, but it depends on sleep. Like, sleep is incredibly important, and waking up at, like, 6:40, and then, getting ready for the day. Like, the whole morning to when I get home is all school and a little bit of Glossy Boys. When I get home, a little bit of relaxation, and then I get into my business, and I don't ever, basically, I don't really stay up too late because, me still needing to grow and to actually have fun doing this, I need to have time to myself, and I need to have sleep. So I don't stay up too late, only sometimes when something is really, really important. But, like, I wouldn't be here now if I was doing too much. And again, I wouldn't be here now if I wasn't doing, like, enough. If I wasn't doing anything, then I wouldn't be here. Like, I've managed to schedule out my time and being able to balance school life with my business and my personal life. So I've somehow managed to manage all that and have fun and be myself while doing that. And that's the most important thing, which I don't think a lot of other people can do. But it's just, you just really have to plan out your day and how it all goes, and just find time for yourself. because you wouldn't have a business if it wasn't for you. And plus, I haven't gotten burnt out yet. Like, I've never gotten burnt out with this business. I've never gotten burnt out with music, but I have gotten burnt out with skating because I'll be spending I'll be like maybe like 2 to 3 hours after school skating, purely skating, and then I'll get sick because I was being out in the cold too much and I was just putting too much work and I wasn't having fun and I wasn't hanging out with anyone else, just doing it by myself. And then I realized, well, I need to balance having fun and I need to balance, studying, and I need to balance this business. So I skate like maybe 5 times a week for like an hour. And I get my dad to take me to the skate park, or I skate after school. Like even yesterday, I had enough time to stay after school and hang out with my friends and skate for a couple hours. But then I came home and I did a whole bunch of work. I had fun. I hang out with my friends and I hang out with my family. I like playing video games with my siblings, and I just got to have fun and have time for myself. And that's something that's incredibly important. Find time for yourself, find time for others, and find time for your business.
What school is this school in person in Perth?
Yes. So this school, it's called the Studio School, or TSS. It's powered by All Saints, and it's in Freo. So I take the train, I skate down actually. So I'm actually skating every single day, which is super fun, even though if it's just cruising. But I meet some of my friends on the train. I go to school, I hang out, and, I read my emails for business and school, and I just get ready for the day and, have fun there. And with that school, it's been super fun because I'm actually getting a proper education. I'm spending, actual time there, and it's actually structured. Like my previous school, it wasn't structured as much as this school is, because I'll be at like kind of school. It was more like an entrepreneurship workspace. So I'll be at school, whatever, Wednesday and Thursdays, but I wouldn't see my friends, and I wouldn't actually be learning anything on any of the other days, because I'll be doing online school, which was basically just this one website, and I'll just be going out and filling in questions, which I'll do for maybe 2-3 hours a day. And that was so bad because I was just at home by myself a lot of the time, because siblings were out, parents were working. I was by myself and I was just doing schoolwork. And me being a kid, I'll be like, I don't need to do this, I'll just go outside and skate. So I did have fun going outside and skating, but I also had a lot of time working on the business. And I felt like going to that previous school was all right for me, because that's when I did TEDx. That's when I did Shark Tank. That's when I was on countless amount of TV, radio, podcasts, because I had all that time and I did so much stuff in just 1 year because I didn't have that, I guess, structure, which was good, but also bad. But now, I've progressing a lot in my business. It's a lot more stable now because I have that structure. I have Monday to Friday, go to school, and then work in the afternoon, and then weekends because I don't really need to hang out with my friends on the weekend because I'm already doing a whole bunch of that during the day. But I still like to do that on the weekends. But doing this business, I've been able to actually put out my time and actually balance everything. Like sometimes on some days, because especially that school being flexible, I sometimes go out to other places and go out to business meetings or go out to other schools and talk about entrepreneurship with purposeful ventures. And yeah, just like this school has been really, really helpful to me. And I've shouted them out a lot, so hopefully they like this. But yeah, I've made so many new friends, and that's the whole thing. Like meeting new people, because I went to that school with like-minded people. Because everyone else, because you have your own project. Some people, it's like, I don't know, the least of it is just like learning a language. But other people are actually starting businesses. And some people are actually like creating their own stuff or honing their skills, like even some music stuff. There's actually this other person. She's like a year 12, and she and she has a nail business, and she's like a nail tech basically, and she does really really cool designs. I should probably get some of hers done on mine, but she's really really cool, and it's like always fun to talking to her because nail polish. We're like we're the two nail polish people at that school. But it's a pretty small school, but it's a tight knit community in Frio. But we just like it's incredibly fun, and I've done so much cool stuff. And you know, I get to have a proper school while working on my business. I get to go out and have excursions, hang out with friends, but make a living and change something with Glossy Boys.
I love that. Last question. What is your advice? This is going to be directed towards older people, because something that you might not fully understand is when you've spent so much time living a certain way, it's really hard to make change. Like, because you can get really stuck, and you've made this amazingly courageous choice and pathway at such a young age. But I think a lot of older people, especially the older you get, find it really hard to make change because it's the status quo bias. It's the things you've always done. What would your advice be to older people who feel stuck in what they're doing, whether it's their business, their health, just making some courageous decision like you've done from such an early age to change their life and ultimately just be happier being who they are?
That's a really good question, and I love answering these type of questions. But it's interesting how you did it, because I always talk to people who are like me and people that are younger than me, people who haven't started. But I think my advice for especially like older people who want to start a business or have started a business and want to be themselves while doing a business or whatever they're passionate about, what I would say is just figure out how to actually plan out your day. That's the most important thing. In my head, sometimes for me, I don't write out lists that often. But I am pretty organized because I do have a calendar on the fridge and on my phone, and like a little to-do list. But I've managed to plan out my day, like, wake up and just spend some time on my phone and like really get ready for the day, go to school, or even whatever, because my mum, she has a job, but she also does this business. She's probably the best person to ask, but coming from me, I've been able to balance my school life and my business life. So I work on school, lunch and recess. I actually work a little bit on the business, and also hang out with friends. And that's 6 hours in the day. It's actually not that much. It is pretty tiring, but really getting a good sleep is really, really important. And I feel like that's not a lot of older people, not a lot of adults do. Like, I see my parents and even my siblings, they stay up until like 3 a.m. like watching a TV show or like being on their phone or playing video games. And for me, especially having this business, so if you start something and it starts something you love, you'll be able to make money. You'll be able to be successful at it because it's you and you know everything about it. I know a lot about nail polish, and I know a lot about myself. I know a lot about skating, and I know a lot about music. So I don't play video games that much. I play sometimes on the weekends with my friends, and I don't go outside doing stupid stuff at my age. So I have fun doing what I love, and that makes basically a profit in the most simplest way. It makes me be successful, and it propels me further into the future because I do something that I love. And I think that's something that's really hard to do, but it's something that's easier nowadays because you have that opportunity to start something. And like, I've met a lot of entrepreneurs. I've met a lot of people that want to be entrepreneurs. They're like, oh man, only if I had that school when I was younger. But there's countless amount of entrepreneurships, like places where you can go and people who you can talk to. You just need to figure that out and see if it is in line with you, because I know some of the stuff here in Perth, but you might be, I don't know, somewhere in the Europe, the UK, United States or whatever. So you just got to really be in touch with your community and just like LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. I think I might be like the youngest person on LinkedIn compared to all the old business people, but that's actually the first place where I really got like popular. Like I went up to Deloitte and basically pitched. It's my first ever pitch of my business, and they posted it, and we posted it on LinkedIn, and boom, like 70,000 interactions or 80,000 interactions, instantly, and like having that sort of, I guess I'll say community is super important. Having that community and having people that you know and people that you can know, like, and trust is incredibly important. I've had the school community, I've had the Perth community, and I've had, the closest community, my family and friends. Another thing is just something that you're passionate about. Start something and relate something, because nail polish, I could have started a nail polish brand and just have it like that. I could sell the same exact product, but just have it like, I go outside and I walk around and I have cool looking nail polish. I don't do it like that, even though I could sell like that. I say like, hey everyone, I'm a young person and I like skating and I like playing guitar, but my nails are always getting chipped while doing that. So I wanted a way to have fun where I could be myself, and that's Glossy Boys. And then I just go into that. So you always got to be passionate about and somehow relate to whatever you're doing and personalize it. And that's what I love doing. So those two things, and I have one more, just the time, just managing your time is the most important thing. Like time management, getting a calendar, even getting a list. If you're one of those people who needs a list to plan out your day, do that. I've been doing it for so long that it's engraved into my memory. I wake up and I just do it. I'm like kind of on autopilot, but I'm still conscious in the brain because it's something that I'm having fun and I'm doing what I want to do. So those three things, that can be taken, I feel like, to anyone, but you just got to relate it to yourself, because no one is like me and no one is like you, and no one is like anyone of the people who's watching, because everyone's unique and everyone has their own sort of way of how they set up their day and where they're living and what's their situation. So I want to have those three things that are broad enough, but also specific enough to where people can take it to heart and people can use that for, I guess, themselves and for creating who they are, and so they can be themselves. Because if you're having fun expressing yourself and you can make a business, and you can, or not even a business, if you can start something or get employed by someone who's already doing it, and just have that little edge of how you're doing it and have that way of doing it, so you can do it even better than everyone else, you've created something successful and you've created what you want. And I know I've only just started. It feels like I just started. It has been like nearly 3 years. God, how the times have like flied. But there's so much cool stuff that's going to happen in the future. And if you take those three things to heart, you can create anything.
Very good advice. Lucas Lane, thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much for having me. And it's been super wonderful. And yeah.
Thank you. Thanks guys for listening.
Thank you.